Yo guys, what's up and welcome to another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you all how Wheezy makes crazy guitar and brass samples in the style of Gunna and Young Thug. So first I'm going to show you all the sample, then I'm going to show you all how I mix it, and I'm going to show you all how I master my samples in a pretty easy way so everybody can recreate that. And then I'm going to show you all how I made a beat to it. So please make sure to stay till the end. Make sure to check out my socials, and yeah guys, let's go. So I started off with using this Chris High nylon guitar, which is from Contact, and I laid down this pretty simple triplet pattern. It's pretty basic, it's like the typical Gunna and Young Thug progression, I would say. And I played with the velocities from a different note, and this is how the finished guitar pattern is sounding like. And for the effects on this guitar, I used an A1 stereo control where I tweaked the stereo width and the safe bass frequency. Then this good hertz wall control, which is basically just there to detune the guitar a bit. Then I had this Valhalla vintage verb where I tweaked the mix, the decay and the low cut. And then this EQ where I just took out some frequencies I didn't like and I boosted the highs a bit. Then for the next thing I used Contact again with the Chris High Horns Compact, and I just laid down this pretty simple pattern. I just played with them velocities, and this is how the finished pattern is sounding like. Then for the effects on these sounds, I just used this RC20 where I just played with the wobble and the EQ. Then I had this Valhalla vintage verb where I played with the mix and the decay. Then the soothe just to get rid of all the unwanted frequencies. And then the EQ where I just took out some of the lows and some of the mids. Then for the next thing I had Omnisphere with the piano muro, and I laid down this basic pattern, and this is how it sounds like. And for the effects on this piano, I just used a simple soothe just to get rid of all the unwanted frequencies. And I had this EQ just to get rid of all the lows and some of the highs. Then for the next thing I had these vocal chops from Splice. And I just picked out some vocal chops that actually fitted. And this is how they sound like. And for the effects on these vocals, I used some Fruity Delay 2 with these settings, so I can copy them. Then this simple Fruity Reverb with, I think it was actually the default preset. And then this Soothe just to get rid of all the unwanted frequencies. And this EQ just to get rid of all the lows and some of the mids and a lot of the highs. Then for the next thing, I played my real guitar, and it's just a pretty simple top line, and it sounds like this. And for the effects on my real guitar, I used this compressor, which I just tweaked for especially this guitar. Then I had this Apex Vintage Exciter just to make the guitar sound better. Then this RC20 where I just had the wobble on and the EQ. Then this Valhalla Vintage verb where I just played with the mix, the decay, the low cut and the pre-delay. And then this soothe just to get rid of all the unwanted frequencies. And then this EQ where I took out some of the lows and some of the frequencies I didn't like. And I turned it 38% in stereo. Then I had these flute phrases which are from one of No Fucks Kids. And I just picked some flute phrases that actually fitted, and this is how they sound like. And for the effects on these flute phrases, I just used some simple reverb where I tweaked the mix, the decay and the low cut. Then this simple soothe just to get rid of all the unwanted frequencies. And then this EQ where I just took out some more frequencies that I didn't like. And then for the last thing, which is the bass, I had Keyscape with the LA Custom C7 grand piano. And I laid down this pretty simple bass line. It's just the root notes from the guitar, and it sounds like this. And for the effects on this bass, I just had the simple EQ where I took out some of the things I didn't like, and the soothe just to get rid of all the unwanted frequencies, and I turned it 55% in mono. Then for the mastering, I just used this simple drama intelligent master, where I just had the style on clarity 2 and the amount on about 34%. Then I had this RC20 with these settings, y'all can copy them. And then I had this soothe just to get rid of some of the unwanted frequencies, and that's basically it. It's pretty simple, but it gives it a nice sound, and the finished sample is sounding like this. So now I just finished making the beat, and the first thing I did was laying down these hi-hats. I just laid down a pretty simple pattern. I added factrix on them just for these little reverses because they sound pretty good. And this is how the hi-hat pattern I laid down is sounding like. Then for the next thing, I just had the simple pyrex clap from my stash kit. It sounds like this. The pattern I laid down is just a basic clap pattern, and it sounds like this. Then for the next thing, I had this simple 2 pyrex snare, and I laid down a pretty simple pattern, and it sounds like this. And for the second last thing, I had the short open hat, and I laid a few of them with the 808s, and the open hat pattern I laid down is sounding like this. And for the last thing, I had this 808 pattern, which is pretty simple. I had no rolls and no stutters, and the 808 pattern with the full beat is sounding like this. So yeah guys, if y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to follow me on all my socials, and thank y'all for this crazy support. And yeah guys, see ya.